Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We always love exploring these international education trends,
Mm-hmm.
and today we've got something, well, frankly, it's pretty frustrating. We're going to be looking at what's going on with students who want to study in Portugal.
Right.
It's kind of crazy, actually. Imagine you've got your acceptance to a university in Lisbon. You're all set. You're thinking about, those beautiful streets and the food, and,
Yeah.
and then bam, you're stuck waiting for a visa,
It's the worst.
sometimes for like 6 months.
Or even a year. We've heard some stories.
Totally. And then, on top of that, we read that the Polytechnic Institute of Bragança is saying students from Brazil, Cape Verde, Angola, they're getting hit especially hard with these
That's
delays.
a really interesting point. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely some historical connections there to think about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, what kinds of things come to mind for you?
Well, I mean, think about it. Portugal and those countries, they share a language, right?
Hmm.
Plus, there's a whole complex colonial history that could definitely be playing a role in how immigration is handled today.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you wonder if students from certain backgrounds, maybe facing more economic challenges,
Right,
or they're
exactly.
getting caught in the system even more.
Yeah, something to consider for sure.
It's not fair.
Totally agree.
And get this, it doesn't seem to be just this one university either. The rector of the University of Aveiro, Paulo Jorge Ferreira,
Oh, I know that guy. He's great.
he's saying this is a huge problem across the board. Even researchers are getting caught up in it.
It's a systemic issue, not just a little hiccup here or there.
Totally. He actually says, and this is a direct quote, it's bad for them and for the university. And the problem is not just the delay in issuing visas. There is too much bureaucracy that needs to be resolved.
He hit the nail on the head with that one. It's that bureaucracy, it just bogs everything down.
I know. It feels like it's designed to make things harder, not easier.
Well, that's often how it goes, unfortunately. But what do you think is causing all of this? Like, what are the specific hurdles that are tripping people up?
Hmm, that's a good question. What do you think? Money? Staffing? Or is it something else?
Honestly, it could be a whole bunch of things, right? Like, maybe there just isn't enough funding to process visas quickly.
Right.
So then you've got offices that are understaffed,
Makes sense.
which means things take forever.
Ugh, the waiting.
Oh, tell me about it. But then there could also be political reasons. Maybe the government is trying to tighten up immigration policies, or maybe their priorities have shifted. And then you can't forget about just like outdated systems and processes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, imagine if they're still using paper files and stuff.
I know. It's crazy to think about, right?
Totally. So it's not just one thing, it's a whole web of stuff.
And meanwhile, people's lives are hanging in the balance.
Exactly.
Dreams are on hold.
It's like that whole idea of bureaucracy. It feels so abstract sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But then you see a situation like this and you're like, oh, wow, this is how it actually affects people.
And what's interesting is this isn't just happening in Portugal.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the article mentions that there are similar delays for students trying to get to Italy,
Oh, wow.
especially if they're from Iran, Afghanistan, or Turkey.
Hmm. So what do you think? Is this more of a Europe-wide thing then?
It could be, yeah. I mean, the EU does have those shared visa policies, but each country can also make their own rules, right?
Right, right.
So it's probably a combo of both.
Yeah.
Some big overarching trends and then some country-specific stuff. It makes you think, like, what does this all mean for international education in general?
Hmm.
How does this affect where talent goes in the world?
Oh, that's a big question. I mean, think about it. If it's this hard to get to certain places,
Yeah,
then people might just give up and go somewhere else.
exactly. So it's not just about these individual students, it's about a whole system.
Totally. And a system that's clearly not working as well as it could be.
Ugh, It's just,
Huh.
it's frustrating.
I know.
So, okay, let's say you were in charge. What would you do to fix this whole mess? Where would you even begin?
Oh, that's a tough one. But I think a good place to start would be with more funding.
Right.
Get those visa offices the resources they need to hire more people and process things faster.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then we got to ditch those old systems,
Yeah.
get some tech in there, streamline the whole process, make it all digital.
Love it. Efficiency.
Right. But then we also got to think bigger picture, right? Like, what are the immigration policies? Are they fair? Do they make sense? We have to balance security, of course. But we also need to make sure that talented people from around the world can actually contribute.
Absolutely. It's about finding that balance.
Exactly. It's a complex issue for sure.
It is. But hopefully, by talking about it, by bringing it to light, we can start to find some solutions.
I hope so.
It makes you think, like, what can we each do, even in small ways, to advocate for a better system? One that's both more humane and more efficient.
That's the goal, right?
That's the dream. Well, thanks for joining me for another deep dive.
Of course, always a pleasure.
And to all of you listening out there, keep those questions coming. We'll see you next time.
See ya.